My name is Ravi. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Sentio. I think we are ready to get started. I just need a thumbs up from Rakshita on the chat if you can confirm that my screen is visible and we can get started. Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for joining the webinar. I can see some familiar names here and some new ones. So I'll quickly introduce myself, the company, and the topic for today is largely to dive into some of the new features that we have been releasing. As we work closely with customers, we are seeing the need to simplify more and more how you use VR, especially for lightweight client presentations, 360 panorama-based tours. So a lot of the focus of today's webinar is on that workflow, but there's also a lot of work we're doing on the 3D walkthrough side of things. So we can talk a little bit about that at the end of the webinar. Um, I don't know if I was on mute when we started. If you have any questions, feel free to bring them in the chat, Q&A, and I'll be looking at it as we speak so that I can respond to you in real time. So let's get started. I think the key idea here for us is to talk about features that simplify client presentations, especially challenges around, how do you show what you're seeing in VR? What happens when Wi-Fi is not available? Multi-user VR, again, making it simpler, getting content into your VR presentations like PDFs and some additional protected privacy related features like password protection. So um, for people who are not familiar with Sentio, we've been solving the problem of communication of 3D designs in virtual reality over the last 5 years. We're a partner with Meta. Some of the world's leading design construction firms work with Sentio right now. And at this point, we are seeing workflows uh, they're getting established on because of the cloud-based simple nature of the platform. So in theory, we are looking at 3 use cases. I'll focus a lot on the first one, which is how do you create high quality, lightweight client presentations? We keep hearing from our customers that it takes a lot of time to build high fidelity walkthroughs using Unreal Engine, or even taking a twin motion experience to a meeting with a headset with a high-end GPU connected is clumsy. So it is becoming clear that lightweight panorama-based static presentations are winning in terms of as a standard workflow, with more and more top-tier design firms adopting it. So we are also, learning from that experience and making it even more advanced. So a lot of the conversation is on that. However, we do have customers as well who use Revit plugin, SketchUp plugin for detailed design reviews, as well as 360 site visits using cameras. So just marked it in gray because a lot of the conversation today is on the first part of the workflow. Uh, Where is this content coming from? We hear a lot of customers using Enscape as their primary sort of tool because, again, the challenge of Enscape not being able to take it to a client meeting with a standalone VR, or not being able to do collaborative VR. Details like that is where Sentio is becoming a default sort of visualization presentation tool. Twinmotion probably is the second one on the list in terms of being able to create panoramas, import it, add to that Lumion, V-Ray, D5. So we've been writing a lot of content on users who are not aware of how to create panoramas here. But essentially, these are the tools where you can bring in panoramas, create lightweight tours, interactive in nature, and then experience it in VR. However, the challenge for a lot of our customers has been that even if you reach that point, in a real client meeting, you don't have a lot of time to set up things, and sometimes the focus can get a little diverted. So we are aware of that challenge, and and the default sort of solution to this so far has been using the Meta Quest casting, which really does the job, to be honest, but with a couple of caveats. The caveats being you need a Meta Quest account on the headset and on the browser, which is one step that people are not always familiar with. It also needs to be in the same Wi-Fi. So while it does the job, the limitations are sometimes big enough for people to not use it frequently. What we have done now is build our own simplified casting. I'll walk through a quick recording of this here, and then I actually want to show it in real time because eh, it's really easy in terms of how you can set up a VR meeting in a few seconds and just make sure everybody's seeing what you see in VR in real time. So what I'm doing here is putting on the headset. I'm inside the VR 360 tour, there's a new option called cast, as you can see here. You click on that option, it generates a 4-digit PIN that you can quickly note, and then go to a web browser, cast.sentiovr.com, put in that 4-digit PIN, and that's all you need. What it does is it connects your VR view to the link, and this is a cloud-based streaming. So what that means is that people can be looking at this anywhere, on any screen, on any number of screens, does not need Meta accounts, and it's a real-time streaming of your VR view. So one way to set things up is you reach this point, you pass on the headset to your client, and everybody in the screen can see on a URL what you're seeing in VR. Another use case is you're in a Teams meeting or a Google Meet or a Zoom call, and you share cast.sentio VR, giving the code to people, and they can look at it in VR in real time, and you don't need to set up um, your MetaQuest casting. So let me actually show this in action right now. I'll quickly show you guys my VR view here. As you can see, I'll put on the headset, enter a 360 tour. As the tool opens, I'll open the VR menu. You can see the cast option here. I'll click on it, click on start casting. It gives me a 4-digit PIN, JOKL. So I need to go to a browser, put in the 4-digit PIN. And just like that, I should be able to see my VR view. So as you can see, this took me less than 10 seconds to actually configure a real-time casting session while my content is in VR. Now, from this point onwards, everybody can see on the screen. And again, this could be shared to people outside the meeting room. So now you are looking at the experience being loaded, everybody can see. And now let's say you change the images, everything happens in real time, right? So you don't have to constantly ask your clients, where are you looking at? I've just changed the image. You can see this is a project by one of our customers, A Lab in Norway. And as the client looks around, everybody can see a real-time streaming. It's not only sort of streaming of the views, it also actually syncs interactivity buttons on top of your tool. So if I play a video in my VR session, you should be able to see a video in the casting session very well. So we've solved, I believe, a huge problem in terms of being able to confidently go to a meeting and set up your VR for everybody to see in real time what you're seeing. This works on 360 tours. Right now, we are exploring how to bring this feature to the 3D walkthroughs in the future. But a huge sort of differentiation on this, in my opinion, is one, just reliable streaming. Two, no MetaQuest accounts are needed. Three, this is high quality streaming. So we're not sort of using the headset's resources to show it on a screen. This is really innovative technology where you can see in high resolution on a screen the tool. So you don't compromise on the quality of what other people are seeing on the screen. And again, it works on all devices. So not only PC, it's a browser-based experience, so anybody can open it on an iPad, phones, etc. So that's the first major sort of update we have launched recently. So looking forward to hearing from our customers as we try get this out in the hands of more and more users. The second interesting update is something that we have just published live yesterday. So I'll just show it to you as we experiment with it as well. The idea here is to make your 360 tours kind of your default presentation tool over time. What that means is people have been asking us, sometimes we look at the renderings, we have some pop-ups, we have some information, but a lot of the project information actually sits in a PDF. So how do we bring that in? And customers have been sort of taking off the headset, opening a PC, and we we took that feedback and experimented with the idea of bringing a PDF viewer within your 360 experience. And as you can see, it really works well. So I've just taken a small PDF from this project and put it into the 360 tool, and it opens a huge screen in front of you in VR. You can read the text really easily. You can scroll in, scroll out. You can also zoom in, zoom out. So it kind of solves the problem of having to switch between different content types. And while this is the end user experience in terms of like putting on the headset and experiencing it in VR, doing it on the web platform is also a very simple experience. For example, you'll see a new PDF icon on top of your 360 tours. Just go there, drag and drop your PDF files, and automatically when you put on VR headset, go to the PDF icon, you should be able to see it in a large screen. So I think this is going to open up certain use cases that are, you know, very uh, we're hearing from more and more people in terms of like, can we bring in floor plans? Can we bring in project details? So we're excited to see what this does, how customers use it over time. I am checking. Um, there you go. I think there are quite a few questions here. So let me. Fantastic. So I can see a question around the audio being very choppy and broken up. I'm sorry if that is the case with everybody else. Don't think there is anything very different I'm doing in terms of my audio setup. So please let me know if that changes. Uh, I can see Pierre asking a question. Hey, Pierre, can you select the PDF screen and maximize the window? You cannot change the window size. You can change the zoom levels within that window size. So that's an interesting one. We will think about how you can um, change the window size here. And the link to the documents to provide on demand is vital. That is so true. I actually tested something, Pierre, that is very interesting here. Don't have it on the demo, but if the PDF has links and you click on it, it actually opens it within the same window, a browser. So you can actually use it in a way to access links within the same VR experience. So it was not the default idea when we built it, but it does the job. So I think getting PDF and what sits inside the PDF can open up a lot of ways of getting information into the experience through links as well. So let me continue with the things that we've been working on. I think this has been a very interesting development for us. We are exploring with more and more customers when and where real-time collaboration is valuable or where you need to do that. What we're hearing a lot is that while customers may not have headsets, the challenge that they cannot always fully grasp how to use VR is a huge friction point. So what people want to do is take away the variables of, um, okay, I've given the headset to a client, how do they use it? And that's where I think real-time collaboration makes a lot of sense. So we're hearing from some customers really innovating on how they're using real-time collaboration, where they're bringing clients in the same virtual space, but doing away with the need of clients having to manage the controls. So what you're seeing here is, somebody in the same space looking at it, exploring it, talking to us, but they are not, responsible for driving the content. It almost becomes a slideshow kind of a presentation with the huge difference that customers are actually looking at the project in real scale, able to interact with you. And you can also use it not just as a presentation tool, but a note-taking tool, because you can just quickly sort of make annotations, put sticky notes, take screenshots. So at the end of the meeting, you don't have to sort of go back and recall each of the things that were discussed. So real-time collaboration has some very interesting applications. And the challenge that we felt on Sentio, while it was really easy to do, it still needed a little bit of um, figuring out. Figuring out means, for starting a session, we have to, and we have kept the legacy process live still, so we haven't done away with it. But what it needs is you need to, let's say if I want to have a real-time meeting on this tour, I need to click on launch meeting. I need to note down the access code, password, and then share the access code with somebody I want to meet with. So that's a few steps already. And while people are doing it, we felt that we could make it easier. And that's what we have done with this new update. What we've done here is the ability to directly start a meeting from VR. So again, let me put on the headset and show it to you in real time. Let me, there you go. So if you see my VR menu right now, you'll see a new option called meeting. This is something that we believe will spark a lot of quick collaboration meetings, because while you're reviewing your design, you can just click on starting a meeting. And Kriti, I hope you are here with me, to be able to show this in how easy it is. It generates a 4-digit code. In this case, it is 04, sorry, it's 040C. And what I want to do is make sure that somebody from our team just notes this code and joins it in VR, and how easy it becomes to actually start a real-time collaboration meeting. So while we do that, let me make sure that I'm keeping up with the chats. There you go. So that's it. So that's all it took for Kriti to join this meeting in real time. There she is. She's right now in India while I'm in Chile. And what we had to do here was just go to meeting tab, create a meeting, 4-digit code. So imagine a client who has a headset, and all they need to do is put in this 4-digit pin, and automatically they are here next to you, so that now you can actually guide them through this experience, right? So Kritik in this experience could actually even drop her controllers and just experience this uh, in a guided fashion with me. She doesn't need to be with me in real time in the same physical location, but if there is feedback, if I can hear her, I can sort of get her feedback. I can use this to make real-time annotations and take screenshots from within the experience. So while a lot of these features are available even in single user sessions, I believe that by getting clients in real time in guided collaborative meetings easily, we are further going to see more and more collaborative meetings happening on Sentio. And what we're trying to do is just close the gap in terms of how many steps do you need to get into VR with multiple people in the same time. Um, I'll just look at some of the questions. Can you talk about issue management in C2 in VR? Um, so Richard, I believe this question is more about using VR on site, is it, with your designs? Is that what you're referring to? I'd love to sort of get some elaboration on that as I continue, and I'll keep an eye on your question. So moving ahead on this set of features that we have worked on, this is a really important one that we have worked on. How many times have we tried to do VR and just fumbled around with, Wi-Fi? I mean, it's happened to me a few times already. It's not always predictable when you take the headset to a client meeting or even on site that you can trust the Wi-Fi to work, or you just end up spending a lot of time just figuring that part out. And that, according to me, ends up being a really big reason why people don't trust taking headsets to important meetings. And we wanted to do away with this in a neat fashion. So the current download offline option that we have, or we had before this update, uh, asked users to download the entire account, which, for some firms that have tens or even sometimes 50 plus projects, is a lot of content, and it was not very efficient. So what we've done is made it really neat, where now you can download an entire project one by one. So you don't have to download the entire account. And we've also added the ability to download 3D walkthroughs. So earlier it was just 362. So I think with this, we have really made a top-notch download feature live that allows people to have backup options in case they cannot trust Wi-Fi, which more often than not turns out to be the case. So what you're seeing here is while I'm using the app, clicking on the download option, it gives me an indication of the project getting downloaded. For offline viewing, I can continue using the app as it is. And once the project is downloaded, if I go back to if I turn off my Wi-Fi, like I'm doing here, um, and restart the app, I'll be automatically directed to the offline section, which is another cool feature because you do not need to sort of figure out your way. The app knows that you're offline and it takes you straight to the offline projects downloaded so that you can click on that and start representation. Again, very creative uses of this are being done. For example, people actually even may have Wi-Fi, but sometimes offline downloaded projects have absolutely no lag. And this is what I'm hearing from some of our customers saying, I would rather have my project offline and just show it in a very fluid manner. What that means is, images are changing and it's really fast. So there are multiple ways to do this, but essentially this gives our customers the confidence that they can take the headsets anywhere with the content downloaded by project. They can remove that content, they can update it. I think we have really upped the game in being able to, again, remove a huge friction point in terms of VR. As you can see here, the images change seamlessly, really fast. So that's obviously a big advantage when you're using offline. And while this recording does not have a 3D walkthrough, that's something that you can also experience in the offline version. Um, I can see in the chat questions around BCF content. I'm going to address that very quickly as I turn towards the end of this webinar. Um, One small detail kind of moving away from the VR experiences is the ability to add password protection. A lot of our customers have NDAs with their clients, links that should not be shared to people who are not authorized. So we've added that ability. You can set a six character password, share the link. It kind of makes sure you're protecting your experiences from being shared to people who are not authorized. So that's a small important update that we launched recently. And now I'm going to move towards probably on what we are working, and I can see questions around BCF, so that would fit really well into what we're going to talk about. As you can see, summarizing our newest releases, a lot of our focus has been on 360 panorama-based presentations. Reason behind that being we are seeing huge traction and success for customers, especially when it comes to client presentations, because of all the challenges that we talked about when it comes to using tethered VR and just having lightweight, ability to share links, ability to easily present it, do collaborative VR offline, has been a winner, in my opinion, when it comes to showing high quality visualizations in a simple fashion where you want to give clients that immersive experience. So then being able to do it offline, being able to cast your view, being able to easily start meetings are just natural extensions of making that use case a lot more solid. And I'm hopeful we get great feedback from our customers as these features go into your hands. Having said that, we do know that there is a large part of our customer base or user base who wants that wants a more sort of detailed 3D walkthrough experience. So our Revit, SketchUp plugins have been used quite a lot in trying to sort of get designs into VR and walk in one-to-one scale. And that's where a lot of our focus is moving right now. So the team is right now working on a really cool update on the dollhouse experience. So when you place the model in your dollhouse, we're tinkering with the idea of removing the virtual experience and placing it in your real surroundings. That's something that we're expecting really soon in 3D walkthrough. So that kind of makes us enter into this mixed reality transition from like a completely VR to a mixed reality experience. So we're getting into that feature. Related to that feature is the ability to sort of imagine, scale your model to a smaller size, place it on your table, scale it to a bigger size. So you can adjust the model scale and then section it in the dollhouse. So these are features that the team is working on. There's a lot of feedback around people wanting to seamlessly use the PC app in addition to VR. We do have a PC app. We are aware that we need to improve the user experience on that. So that's something that we are working on. And finally, I think related to the questions that I'm seeing here, a lot of our BIM um, leaders that are using Sentio have been requesting for IFC, Navisworks integrations. I think the team is very close to getting something out there. We're trying to keep the user experience very simple. What that means is, again, we believe in drag and drop, one-click interfaces. So that's what we're working on. Some sort of last challenges and that are being resolved. Uh, Once that's live, I think I can now link to the question around issues, the DCF content. That's something we're aware of, Pierre and Richard. We have built a very basic feedback capture or issue capture experience right now, where you can put a speech to text annotation. You can take a screenshot, and an automated report gets generated after the session. Uh, we can see how that will evolve into a more sophisticated issue tracking tool by making it BCF compatible. The sequence in which we want to solve these problems is first make sure we can get all the formats in Sentio. So Navisworks IFC is makes a lot of sense in terms of getting that right. The other challenge around large models is something that we want to also work on. And I believe that once we've got these basics in place, a lot of people would want to then use that experience, create issues, and then sync them in the format that they would want, like BCF. And that's what we address uh, uh, in that sequence. Again, happy to sort of hear feedback. We'll build this again with feedback from customers. So a lot of you'll see a lot of updates coming in the next few weeks, months around this use case. So kind of wrapping up here, as our learning in the last few months has been that not just architects, the workflows are very, very intertwined when it comes to AEC. A lot of construction firms also need to do design presentations, need to create renderings from Enscape to InMotion. So our goal is to sort of become this one-stop central hub that can bring in content from different sources, independent of the stage of the project, and make it easily available in VR for collaborative design reviews and naturally fit into the workflow. So I think we are going step by step in that direction. And by making the 360 tour experience so sophisticated, so advanced, I think we are bringing in a lot of confidence to the architecture design community that client presentations can be done seamlessly through that workflow as we move towards the more engineering construction workflows and bringing in all the features that I talked about in Navisworks. Uh, so kind of wrapping up here, as our learning in the last few months has been that not just architects, the workflows are very, very intertwined when it comes to AEC. A lot of construction firms also need to do. I do want to make sure we offer the option to people who have joined the chat to, if you want, have a one-on-one call with us. Please follow the link that I think Rakshita or Kriti can share on the chat here. That is my personal meeting link. So I'll be happy to chat with anybody who wants to go deeper into any of these topics, or just we are in AEC. I see some familiar names in the attendees list. So it's always great to talk to customers and users who are passionate about this. And you'll see our team rolling out some really, really interesting features that during this year that will make Sentio, I believe, the go-to platform when it comes to the design and construction industry and VR. If there are any other questions before we wrap up, I'll be happy to take that up. I see a question from, are there any new plugins for rendering programs like D5 and Lumion that in the works? From Anna. Thanks, Anna, for the question. So when it comes to Lumion on D5, honestly, the challenge is more on the side of how do we access that content and upload it. So these are closed platforms. So the only way we can get that content into VR is 360 photos or panoramas. Having said that, that's not actually that I do feel now that having talked to so many sort of customers that are doing day in, day out client presentations, that seems to be the way that format is probably right for what we want to do. Static panoramas allow you to execute your VR presentation seamlessly. You can control what you want to show. You can share it as a link to clients post meeting. So I think the benefits of being able to just have preset views instead of a full-fledged 3D model that people not really familiar in how to experience is actually turning out to be an advantage. Just a small data point on that we got from recently from a customer that around 40% of customers who look at 3D walkthroughs tend to feel nausea, which is an important detail. When you're sitting and looking at panoramas, you don't feel that nausea, but if you're walking inside a 3D model, you do feel that. So I know I kind of sort of moved a little further from your point, but right now I think we're focused on the 360 photo-based workflow instead of building plugins for D5 and Lumion. When it comes to uploading plugins, I think Navisworks getting file formats from Navisworks, IFC, Autodesk Construction Cloud is where we're putting more of our energies.